All right, we are now recording. So we're going to wait for Simone to call in. But it sounds like we don't have to go through the whole protocol, so that's good. We can just do our usual divine alignment stuff. So I'm going to get that, going to find that while we're waiting for Simone to call in. All right.
Okay, can you all hear me?
Sure can. I'm going to...
Okay, I'm on mute.
Okay. I'm going to fix it now. I'm going to rename you so we know who we're talking to over here. So if you have your computer that's going to restart for whatever reason, I don't know. If it does, then I go away. I'll be back. Right. Okay. All right. So we're going to see, hear, and perceive, and in the end, he's going to bring it all together. All of our voices are important. We're all active participants. It's all about unity, seeking God's heart. So we're going to lay down any personal agenda. We're going to always seek the Lord's heart, step by step, just report. We're going to honor each other. We can use our 5 senses. We're not going to rely on what we know, because he's going to bring it together in the end for us. Don't be afraid of silence. No processing. We ascend and descend on the blood of Jesus. So we choose to align ourselves with the divine right alignment. We place our body under our soul. We place our soul under our spirit. We place our spirit under the Holy Spirit. We invite all heavenly hosts to help us. We welcome the angels, the great cloud of witnesses, spiritual beings, 7 spirits of God, the men in white linen. We seal off all other dimensions by the blood of the Lamb. And then we can go in by royal invitation. Well, actually, we're already there. We're already in heaven since we live there. It's our country, as Michelle says. It's our country. But the Lord says on 3:20, here I am. I stand at the door and knock. So let's just go in what we've been doing, everyone, when we first ascend or we meet up with each other. We like to join together, and we like to put our foreheads together so we all come together in unity. So let's find each other now. And let me know, Roger, when it's okay to lock the door, okay, for Diane, if she's not coming.
She hasn't responded yet.
Okay. Hey, Diane, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and close the door. I mean the Zoom. I'm going to lock the meeting. So are we all together? Can we see each other so we can come together in unity? Place our foreheads together because there's so many of us. All I could see is like a big crowd and we're like leaning in really far so our foreheads can all kind of touch. Oh, we're a big, wonderful group. Actually, I kind of see all of our foreheads kind of going in together, actually, because there's no, we're just kind of melting together. I feel like we've all turned into this big whirlwind, all of us together.
I see that too.
Yes, we're definitely in journey. When we put our heads together, I saw this ship wheel. You know how Captain steered the wheel, and it was spinning, and there was a light coming out of all those spokes. And we're like traveling. Yes.
Like the wheel within the wheel?
Yes.
And I see water swirling,
Mm-hmm.
swirling, huge masses of swirling in water.
I'm feeling the presence of Uriel, which is one of the main angels assigned to Ecclesia framework. And I can just feel his presence so strong. He's huge. He's absolutely huge. I can feel him like as if he wants to engage us with something. But also for protection, to kind of, for us to be really reassured of his protection.
I just get like we're a force not to be reckoned with. You know, it's like whatever we're going to do, we're such a powerful force. That's probably why Uriel's with us.
I felt like when she got the ship wheel that it was the wheel of state.
What does that mean? Wheel of State.
I have no idea. I think it's governmental, though.
I hear the word position. Wheel of state, positioning.
That really resonates with me.
What do you think that swirling water represented?
I don't know.
I get it as force, the force of
Yeah.
like the water,
Yeah.
like the river of life, just the force of the flow.
Yeah.
Of it. Like, you know how water can create electricity, you know?
Yes, yes.
Oh, yes.
That's what I saw in the throne room on the glass floor.
Hmm.
This is Simone. I'm getting that where I'm feeling a strong like vibration or frequency in my body. So I'm feeling like we're in frequency with heaven right now.
Woo!
I wonder if we should ask Uriel if he wants to say anything to us or
Mm.
reveal anything about all this.
Somebody just fell off. I think I need to probably reopen the door for whoever that was. Okay, let's go ask him.
This is Bonnie. So when you first mentioned Uriel, I could sense like metal, and then it became more like a golden metal. I could almost taste it. And now that we're asking him a question, I see like green, standing up bars of green kind of a little bit in the distance. And I was like, celery? And I'm thinking, no, I don't think it's celery, but kind of like something green standing up.
All right. I'm seeing, I believe it's an angel holding a shield that's circular,
but as it's spinning, it feels like a portal, and it's pointing it at all of us and blasting light inside of us. And he was just moving from person to person, and the light was blasting us and going into our heart. And I saw the words like perfection. I kept seeing the word perfection, and then it hit me in the face and then, my chest area, and it was perfection and number 7. And then I was given a sword. I don't know what kind of sword it was, and then I looked at everyone down the line. They all had a big sword, and we all put it on the ground, and I heard destruction of the weapons of darkness.
Oh,
Wow. Whoa, that's
Mhm.
And I see us putting our swords together with a tip at the top, just linked together.
well, I think that's when because I had seen a force not to be reckoned with. So it's almost the power of us together in unity being able to destroy all the weapons of darkness.
Yeah, I got a sense that it was about him lifting us up and strengthening us so we could do more, bigger things. Yeah.
So who's 518 that just joined us? Is that?
It's me. Somehow I got lost connection,
Oh,
but
hey.
was able to get back in.
Yeah, awesome. I opened the door for you, so good.
Praise God, thank you.
Who's laughing? That's Grace. Grace is laughing. Yep, the joy of the Lord is our strength.
Oh. Whew. Wait, is Jane here?
Yes.
I'm seeing you with a trumpet. You're blowing it. It's a golden trumpet.
Oh, cool.
And all of us just came behind you. We all lined up together. And then a lot of heavenly angels, I don't know which ones they are. They just dropped in and they're surrounding us. Oh.
Wow.
I've certainly been doing a lot of calling this week.
There you go.
Did anybody else?
Oops. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, did anybody else got instrument? I was trying to figure out all this time. My hand was moving, so it felt like something small I can hold with my right hand, and I think I didn't see who was speaking, that Jane was blowing the trumpet, and I think I've been strumming the harp. So I was wondering if anybody else got an instrument.
When you were describing it, I just saw a bugle.
Yeah, I got a tambourine when you were talking about it. A minute ago, I saw a knight with armor, like a knight in shining armor, and his helmet is down.
Yeah, I have a tambourine too, and I see dancing. I see celebrating.
Talking to Uriel, he gave me something of a mandate to get moving on the formation of government. Everything I've been hearing since I've been on this ascension was governmental. He's saying the Ecclesia, the documents are written, but he made it seem like there was a war that needed to take place to formalize the government. And as Michelle was talking about the country that we are citizens of, when I touched her forehead, I got patriot. And same thing with Bonnie, that she is a good patriot of this country. So I'm wondering if this is a kickoff of that government, the actual formation of the government of heaven on earth.
Wow.
We both said wow. And I saw a football being kicked when you said that.
Oh.
And he was likening it to the formation of the United States,
Yes.
where documents had been written, but it took a war to formalize the meaning of those documents. It took a war 100 years later again, too.
Are you saying war, like WAR?
Yes.
Okay.
I looked up ship of state, and it says, one of the things it says is, more recently it has become a staple of American political discussion, where it is viewed simply as an image of the state as a ship in need of a government as officers to command it, and conspicuously absent of its anti-democratic poor absolution original meaning. So, but I think the important part is it's a ship in need of a government as officers to command it.
Yep.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you, Lord.
That's Jesus.
So we're like founding fathers here.
That's awesome. 'Cause we were just talking about that, about forming the new government too. So yeah, I think he's forming it right now.
So we need to agree for him to rest on it.
Yeah, that's good. So do you think Uriel then is going to assist in that with the Father resting on it?
Say that again, Kathy.
Well, Winnie was saying that the Father needs to rest on it, I think is what she said. Is that what you said, Winnie?
Yes. The Lord gave me, and I think it was yesterday, Isaiah 66:1. The King James Version says, "This is what the Lord says, heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool. Where is the house you will build for me? Where will my resting place be?" And that's what I kept hearing. And so I believe it has something to do with that. Yeah, I just believe that in establishing even a country where our founding fathers of this country messed up is it was too much of a mixture. God is not going to rest on anything that doesn't look like him in terms of blueprint.
That's right.
It's like the menorah. It's a shadow. If it doesn't look like him, he's not going to rest on it. He's not going to prove it. So that may be where we're in place. And may I say, at the very beginning of the ascension, I didn't say it, but I saw a lot of wings, like angel wings, like blinding, like they were excited about something, getting ready to come forth. They were just very excited.
Cool. I see a ship like from say the late 1700s, and it's in an ocean, and the important part is that the water turned wine.
Whoa.
I'm seeing that too. The whirlwind of water. To me, as soon as somebody mentioned that, I was seeing Navy, but I didn't say anything. But now Diane's talking about, well, this is like the new armada, like the apostles from the new apostolic Reformation movement are always talking about the apostolic armada. This is the new armada. This is a new government.
Yes.
Ecclesia. So I think in the same way that oftentimes important war documents are signed on ships, terms of surrender, treaties, that sort of thing. That may be what we're dealing with here, this naval armada.
I agree.
Some governmental documents that are being mandated to us. I think we need to seek them.
Kind of like the new Constitution?
I can't speak to the quality of the documents.
Okay. Well, let's go
Yes,
see.
that makes sense. So,
Yes, it does.
heavenly manifesto or
Yeah, I think we should go and seek those, seek what it means.
so you get a sense that that's a courtroom, court of judges kind of thing, or is this a chancellor's house?
This is odd. I'm just going to say it. I'm getting whiskey barrel.
I'm just getting a real sense that what's been spoken of here is it's a form of heavenly government, heavenly blueprint that none of us have really grasped yet.
I agree.
And yeah, it's something different. So to be open our mindsets away from, all these arcs and benches of threes and something more heavenly. So we got
I
a glimpse
agree. It's
before
bigger.
about how the real rulers would be the men in white linen, the angels, the heavenly hosts, and not the men on the earth running these sort of,
Right. This
legislative groups.
Isn't necessarily even centered on the earth. This is more galactic.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yet I see documents that we will be signing at some point today.
Where are you seeing them? Are you in the Court of Judges?
I'm trying to see where that's at. They're just on a table. I don't know where they're at yet. Like I'm seeing it in the distance, like in the future.
I'm wondering if this is big enough that this might actually be the Court of the Lord, which is the one courtroom I've never been in.
Well, the documents themselves are like really thick paper. It's almost like a skin. They're very different looking.
Ancient documents, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just getting a sense that it's the mobilization of lots of heavenly beings, resources, people together, as if they're being brought together to form more unity for releasing the new blueprint.
Yes.
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 As if to begin to satisfy that the whole of creation is groaning, waiting for the sun.
Yes.
Some kind of down payment on that something's coming. Yes, we hear your groanings.
I get the sense like it's the formation of a heavenly parliament.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, I see the stars just overwhelmingly lit up over the ship and the water and the whiskey barrel area.
Perhaps that's for the party afterwards, Bonnie.
There's always got to be a celebration.
It's almost like a different level of the wine. Like it's a stronger level of the wine.
Ooh, I like that, Kathy. Good.
Intoxicating.
Yeah. There's something political that's historical about a whiskey barrel, but I can't remember what it is. But I know it's there. I just can't remember it.
Really? Oh.
Like roll out the barrel.
Yeah.
That's I do see it. It's like a white on its side, and it's being rolled off of the ship. And for me, the ship sails are down, so it's not in motion. It's just quietly sitting there. But that barrel did get pushed off the boat.
Yeah, I am feeling a little bit intoxicated at the profoundness of all this. It's do you use the word parliament in America? Do you know what?
No.
No. What do you use? It's like It's more than the Senate. What's the whole thing?
Congress.
Congress. Oh, right. Yeah. So you know what I mean then. So when I say Parliament, that's what I'm thinking. It's all the levels together. Formation of all bringing like the heavenly Congress together.
Yes.
And like almost giving them responsibilities.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is really, really big. I had a feeling
Well,
it was
and
going to be big.
I am
Really big.
I'm getting that this is not ever going to be reversed.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Yes.
Can I share with you all for a minute?
Yeah.
30 years ago, we were seeking the Lord about the direction for the church. And God gave me a word that he had established the government of the church to reflect the government of the United States. I had no idea what he was talking about. I just put it on a back burner. But when I went to the summit, after I came out of there, the Lord brought that all back to me. And basically what he showed me was that what we'd done with that new Constitution was that we had taken government from England, represented by Mike, and we had formed a government in the United States, but we had not done it in war and rebellion. We had done it in agreement. So the whole foundation of government over the United States, we changed when we did that. So the root was really dealt with. So the root of rebellion was really dealt with. The second thing that we did is when he released all those laws about how we could call the Joshua generation, it was like that was like a parallel to the I can't think of the name of it. The whole United States government was really established on the Magna Carta, which was a document that came out of England. And it was important in England because what it did was the nobles that were under the king forced the king to let go of some of his authority over them, so that the establishment of Parliament really came out of that in England, is my understanding of what happened in England. But it was even more important in the United States because it really became the basis of our whole governmental system. So I feel like what we did when we went to Kearney was that both things were released. Those laws were like the equivalent of, and they came out of England just like they did in the Magna Carta, if you're following me. And those laws are like the very basis that we can like operate on.
What I'm feeling is that what you're describing is a reflection of what God is doing in the spirit realm. There is a disconnect from religion, and God's people are coming together. And what I saw was the ship. God, it was having a little kind of turbulence, but the hand of God lifted it up and turned it upside down and started. And I saw our mindsets were being shaken, and the religion was being poured out. And then we came into that room where the being was releasing light, and we got the swords. And then I saw people in this ship were trying to, they knew there was a realm of the cloud of witness and the forefathers and the fathers of the faith. There was a gathering. That's what I was seeing even as we were talking. As you were talking, the cloud of witness and the ship and all of us together. and I believe representing the Ecclesia, there is an awakening that had been coming about the heavenly realm, but there was still that disconnect. But what I saw was a coming together, an agreement, and an alignment with the ship and the cloud of witness, and this signing. And what I started seeing was the word new frontier, and it was like the Ecclesia shifted from that hold, sort of like represented by England, if you can use England as a representation of religion. And I saw the Ecclesia come into an agreement and a oneness with the realm of heaven, and this clarity started to come, and then this legislation started to be released, this agreement for a release of a new frontier and a realm, and sort of a new state of being, a new country, the way you said, the Magna Carta. It felt like, it's like a lot of us, a lot of the Ecclesia signed and came to this agreement that this was the new thing God was doing.
Woo!
And the words that I saw was, there is a new frontier, and it's that is being released and revealed in this age. And the other thing that I saw were these blue beings, like the beings were all blue, and it feels like it's the spirit of knowledge. Like this realm is suddenly like opening to us, and it's like the ship kept being elevated until it was at the same level with a cloud of witness, and this agreement just came. And then I saw little feathers, those pens with feathers, like ancient pens are being given, and people are being asked to sign the new legislation. Are they in a, and it's sort of like it's a release and a question. Are you in agreement with the new legislation of a new realm and a new country that is being released? And people are signing in and coming into agreement that they can shift from the England, or rather religion, kind of mindset into this new frontier that the Spirit of God is bringing us into. So I saw these blue beings just coming in.
Hello.
Wow.
Hey, sweetie. Listen, I'm in the middle of an ascension, so I'm going to be really, really quick. I started reading Sturgeon's book, and I really want to do this. Can you get me in?
Nancy, are you talking to us?
Yeah.
Nancy, you aren't muted right now.
Are you talking to us? The
Yeah,
group?
we can all hear you.
The surgeon?
She's talking to
Okay,
somebody
well,
else.
why don't you track that down for me, and I'll get back to you.
All right, let me mute her.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, well. Too late. I muted her. A little slow. We heard you, Grace. That's awesome. I'm in agreement.
I am too.
I think this is just totally awesome, guys. I'm really resonating with what you're saying, and I'm getting a sense that what we're being asked to do is almost sign a heavenly Magna Carta, which is really changing the whole mindset away from kings ruling. Because the reason the Magna Carta was so necessary is because the kings were abusing their authority.
Yeah, it was an assertion.
And they were just, anything they wanted to do, they just said, right, that's going to happen. And the people were suffering, and it was basically unfair. And I get that there's a parallel here, that it's some form of release of the abuse of the earthly power that's overstepped its mark, and a restoration of the participation of the whole of everyone, and away from the authority of the kings.
particularly in a time of persecution and impending persecution, escalating persecution against Christianity and Judaism.
Mm.
Now,
So basically, it was wrong trading too.
Yeah, look, there's just been so much wrong trading that I think we've reaped the fruit of that, because it has been everyone like saying, no, this is right, this is right, this is right. And instead of working together saying, I submit this to the body for union, it's no, this is it, this is it, this is it. And I see the blueprint is so much more of like a Congress type environment where people have to submit a bill and it has to go through Congress. It has to get the approval of a huge majority. No more of this, I'm declaring this is the heavenly blueprint by one person saying this is the heavenly blueprint. It's almost that change. We cannot operate where people just perceive something and declare it as God's will without really running it through some legislative process.
And the scope of it, I was seeing as waves going from the US to Europe
Wow.
in water with this naval armada. But that was just the microcosm. In the macrocosm, it was like a wave going across the universe as these stars sort of rippled in the wake of this wave, implying that it was across the entire universe. That's how far reaching this.
Wow.
I believe Elijah just stepped in, and he's got his big cloak flowing. Welcome, Elijah.
Welcome, Elijah.
Yeah.
So Diane was asking, is this, because this is a sea, it's a naval armada, is this a maritime law?
Yeah, there's so much symbolism in this because the Lord uses a lot of water type symbolism, like the river of life, crystal sea, Holy Spirit, different things like that. And the court systems are all based on maritime law. And so it's just kind of interesting. So, and I was asking Roger, is this no one country owns this, and that would be why it would be a maritime law, like it applies the same to everything because it's like natural law. I don't know if that makes sense.
Land pertains to a country. Maritime law is planetary.
Universal law, yeah. So there's just a lot of symbolism with this. It's just kind of blowing my mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
now that's
also,
really good.
What comes to mind with that is the opposition of water spirits that would oppose this.
Such as Leviathan.
Didn't we deal with him once before?
Yes.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why we're able to do this now, because we already dealt with him.
And Mercury.
Or them, and them. I mean, there was more than one that we dealt with on that ascension.
Yeah.
But we have the authority here.
I'm really resonating this whole thing about it being completely universal and not about one country or other, and that it's and each nation must be inclusive, because this is a galactic. It's like a galactic council type thing. This is not about looking after our own country and just forget everybody else as long as we sort out our own issues. It has to be I'll help you, you help me, a universal kind of mindset that we do this globally. And I've seen that for a while, that we have to get out of this. I'm just going to look after my own domain.
Well, we're calling it interdependence.
That's a great word. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and I feel those are the mindsets that are being, the resistance that is being dealt with to a point where we have a heavenly mindset, and all these other identities are kind of being dealt with. So there's this place where we are being lifted up to a place of agreement until we are one with the cloud of witness, and our mindset becomes more heavenly, and like you said, globally, to bring, light everywhere.
Yes.
Can I add on to that thought Grace just had? And that is that there truly is just one church. There's one church in heaven, which is and there should be a reflection on the earth that
That's
there's
right.
only one church.
That's right.
So just follow along with what Jane is saying and what Grace is saying, there is truly only one church under the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
So is that why we're possibly doing this on water instead of on land? Because the land, of course, everybody claims the land, but the waters, nobody has any claim to that. It's universal.
Wow, yeah.
Well, I get a sense it's the sea of stars rather than actually something we're doing here.
Say again? I didn't get that.
I get a sense that it's the sea of stars, not
Wow.
our oceans.
Oh, sea of stars, like the seven seas, or like that, you mean?
Roger, are you saying the seas of stars? What do you?
I'm going to type it.
Stars.
Okay.
Stars representing nations.
Sea of stars, like an ocean of stars.
Oh, gotcha.
This is galactic.
Oh,
Not on Earth.
yeah.
Well, when Roger said that, it made me think of when God told Abraham to look up at the stars, that he would have as many children as there were stars.
And he equated it to sands on a beach, didn't he?
Yeah. And he told him to look at the stars. And also before Roger said that, what came to me is that, in dream interpretation, many waters can represent people too. It can make a multitude of people.
Mm.
Kind of like the sea of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
we're all basically illuminations, like stars.
Yes.
So it's just a multitude of spirits that God created.
Isn't the heavenly parliament the heavenly Sanhedrin?
It sounds right, which is also the Galactic Council, or Court of 70.
Well, there's actually,
It's interesting to say that.
Ian's talking now about all these three layers of the Council of 70, and they're different. So there's a Council of 70, there's Galactic Council, and there's something else, I can't remember. But there's 3 layers that I think none of us have explored or encountered.
Solar systems.
Say that again.
Nations, planets, and solar systems.
That's the 3 layers.
Yeah. It's interesting Michelle was saying that because I've been trying to put this off, but I'm getting John the Revelator saying, come to the Galactic Council. Directly.
I heard that earlier too. I agree.
The Galactic Council, you see, could be, this might be what we're participating in now, that's different from the Council of 70.
Oh.
Yeah, so this could be we're exploring this and seeing what's happening there.
So, Jane, are you saying we're going beyond?
Yeah, well, all I know is Ian's been talking recently about these 3 layers. There's a lot more governmental levels than any of us have experienced, and so this Galactic Council, we've been using it as the same as the Court of 70, but it isn't. So there is this other Galactic Council that we don't really know a lot about.
Oh.
Yeah.
Previously, when we've met John, it was in the Court of 70.
Oh.
So perhaps we haven't been to the Galactic Council as such yet.
I'm just really feeling strong in my spirit that this is what we've been doing here is some form of formation of this higher Galactic Council that's kind of taking its place, so to speak.
I agree.
Really? Oh, wow.
I agree.
Ooh.
So, you know, Ian talks about the wild geese, and that was the not resurrection, but the revival back, was it Scotland or New Zealand that had the wild geese? I don't know if you remember that, but anyway, it was a revival thing with the new mystics and the mystics back before him, and it's like come awake in New Zealand. Anyway, I see wild geese flying our way in formation.
Wow.
Actually, I think the geese might have been in Wales.
Yeah, I think you're right. But so you know what I mean. But I definitely keep seeing these wild geese flying our way. Awesome.
Oh, I'm getting a real sense that those that will be invited to be on the Galactic Council will be those that have this global mindset.
I'm actually seeing like layers and layers of cloud of witness, and all of them are saying, coming to the new wine, agree with the new legislation, and they're looking pretty much what you're saying. There's an invitation to agree with the new thing that God is doing. But it's like I'm just seeing, like, I feel like not really seeing, but sensing, and just seeing a whole lot of people, like a very big group from the cloud of witness, and they're releasing an invitation and looking for those who will agree. And it feels like they need a lot of the Ecclesia to agree with this new thing that is coming.
Wow.
Well, we also have to be careful to differentiate, because Satan also wants a global mentality and a new world order. And this is opposed to that. I think this is what, Jane, you and I have been talking about for some time, the one new man discussed in the Bible, which is the merging of the Christian and the the Jew. It could be even bigger than that in implication. One new man could be universal.
Jane mentioned earlier that Uriel was with us. And so let me see, Malcolm. He's a general, right?
Yeah.
And of the messenger angel. So maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe that's why, we were being escorted by him. So, as to give us the message, push us in the right direction.
Did we ever ask him what?
Yes.
Did we ever engage with him? I don't remember.
I believe we did. I can't remember who.
Yeah, no, we did. Yeah.
Roger talked to him.
Oh, okay.
Well, he talked to me. But yes.
See, we could ask if this new formation is the Galactic Council or whether it's something different. That would be really interesting, and also to really find out what the Galactic Council's all about. I haven't got a clue. I've never explored it. It's almost like we're being invited to go to a whole new level of authority that none of us have pursued.
That's true. I agree.
We were on an ascension a couple weeks ago with a different group. And James was getting that we in the Ecclesia, particularly on that lion group, were being promoted. And I haven't been sure what that really meant. So I've been kind of waiting for what could that mean? So perhaps this is what he was talking about.
It may be meaning from glory to glory because, we're framing up that there's no end. So it should keep going, but we have to go from one level to the next level or to the next, to the next, to the next.
Well, I assume it means to the sons of God, because that's what creation is groaning for, waiting for the sons of God. And very few of us are walking in sonship.
Right, and to take responsibility. Somebody has to take this on.
See, we could ask who's currently there in the Galactic Council. Who is it?
That's a good idea.
Can you lead us in that, Jane?
Well, I think we should just ask that now. Just set our hearts on that.
I am.
Well, the answer I got immediately was space and time.
Huh?
Well, we're looking for a leader in the Galactic Council or
Do you mean more than people then? It's not so much about people.
And I hear rhythm. So yeah, I'm wondering if I'm
like it's not a kind of a whole load of men in white linen. It's more.
I think it's some being.
Different.
meter. I'm not sure if that meant like tap, tap, like a rhythm and measured meters, you know what I mean? So those are coming to me right away. So.
I'm
You see, what we
hearing
got.
Hebrews 11.
Oh, go on. Yeah.
I was hearing Hebrews 11 and number 13 and seeing a long scroll that was unraveled and everyone is looking at it.
I'm getting the sense that this Galactic Council is like it's so much bigger than just, say, you know, like the 70 people on the court of 70. It's more it's huge. It's kind of,
Yeah.
It's got
It feels
representations
like,
from all
yeah.
sorts, all over.
You know, as you say that, James, what picture came to me was Star Wars, the original 3 Star Wars. And in a synopsis, you know, that was about the good side, or I forget what you call the side, how they were governing the galaxies. And then also I heard Ian talking about one of the last conferences, how there are different beings, but she was talking about the court of the Lord, I think. But the reason why I think I heard that, I'm just agreeing with you. I think there could be other creatures and other beings on this Galactic Council.
I just read this in the Natural. It says the Galactic Council is a coalition representing the thousands of intelligent species residing in the galaxy and is primarily involved with negotiating non-aggressive pacts between them. They employ a mighty peacekeeping force to make sure everybody honors the pacts and has an academic arm known as curricula.
Wow. Oh.
Interesting.
Well, I'm not sure what that refers to, but I'm cautious here because friends of mine that became somewhat Luciferian over the years and were very involved in the New Age also spoke of a galactic council.
Yeah, that's what that is, I think.
Of ascended masters and members of darkness.
Yeah.
Actually, what I've been feeling is going back to the foundation. And that's why it kind of felt like, you know, to me, there was this founding father feeling. And it was actually like, it felt like we were going back to the Ancient of Days, to the original intent of God. And and it's like we're going back to the heart of the original intent of God. It feels like there is an alignment that is coming to just bring us back to that place, you know, to the original intent. And, you know, the sons of God and the manifest glory, wisdom and knowledge of God, and the intimacy to back to the heart of the Father.
Yeah, I really resonate with that, Grace. I think that's wonderful. And I think just to address what you said, Roger, there'll always be an imitation, an evil imitation.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
There's a truth.
but not to be put off by the fact that there is a heavenly version.
Yes, I agree.
So I'm seeing this again. I don't know if anybody saw it, but there's an image of a shofar being played over Israel, and a cloud starts forming a circle. And like it just keeps kind of going in. I'm almost seeing like we can step through this cloud like into another dimension. I don't know, maybe not. But I do keep seeing this interesting image.
That is amazing. Like, is that like an well, like an invitation to come up into that cloud, you're saying?
Today is the Yom Kippur day.
Yes. That's what I'm thinking. Yom Kippur.
And they actually had that in Jerusalem, where the cloud was formed in a circle and the trumpets were playing out of the heavens. Did you see that, YouTube?
Yes.
You know what? This is Winnie. I really, I'm tracking with everything that's going on, but I have to say I was really excited before, the ascension today, because I was expecting something really big to happen, to go down today, before nightfall or at this time of the ascension. and we are up on the restoration of all things. And so when you said the trumpet and the cloud and all of that, I'm like, okay, we got another chance to come up in and go up higher. It's like God is raising us, here we are, we have to decide, do we want to come up here some more? What is he?
I think I'm starting
So are
to
we saying that we're going to engage with this portal then? Is this, by us entering into this portal, are we entering into this Galactic Council, or we just responded to the invitation?
Well, I got the sense that it was okay for us to go in and observe, for us to understand more. We're not being invited to be on it, but we can observe to understand the bigger picture. And I think there will definitely be some implication for any of this for Israel.
I agree. Just more to see, that's all, not so much to join, but something that God wanted us to see.
Yeah, to see. Yeah. We could just go and just try and see the operations of it. Ask how it operates.
So when the shofar was going off, I started to see a whirlwind in the stars, like a swirling vortex. And I think that is a secret entrance to this Galactic Council.
Mm.
I think that's us, because that's what we looked like to me in the very beginning.
Yep, I remember you said that.
I'm getting a sense this is a place for people who have chosen to take the responsibility for ruling galaxies, who are willing to think and take the big picture. And it's the whole process of the bringing that all together, what that means. And like Ian talks a lot about, like, when we can create galaxies, and we move into that whole arena. The more responsibility we take, that this is where this kind of debate and dialogue happens. Where the blueprint for galaxies is determined.
I keep seeing a rabbi with a brown hat on and his black top coat and beard. Just a huge head of this rabbi.
So should we go to the Galactic Council?
Well, we can. I'm just seeking to observe now, really, what the intention of it is, and I'm getting this real sense that, well, some of you may not have heard some of the latest stuff Ian's talking about, because I haven't fully heard it firsthand, but I've heard secondhand about creating our own cities. And I've been setting my heart on this. I felt a mandate a few weeks back. And so I started to see if I had any authority to create a city. But it wasn't a physical city on the earth. What I ended up creating was a new form of ecclesia with new values. So it was like it was a spiritual thing, but then it would manifest onto the earth. And I was led to, like, I could choose what values I knew were of the heaven and pull them together. And I ended up being like above a planet and putting my hands in, and I was kind of like moving bits and calling forth this and that value, and creating this new form of ecclesia that does not exist currently on the earth, from what I'd seen in heaven. Because there's a city of God, there's a city of Jesus, there's a city of the Holy Spirit, and then we can create cities. And so I get the sense this Galactic Council is all part of this as well, that it's about getting the authorization for what these new created places can be when we get to that level of authority. It's almost like when we set our heart and formulated a plan of what we want to co-create, it's like this is where we take it for authorization to see if it fits in with the bigger picture and the overall plan.
So I saw you with your trumpet again, Jane.
Sorry? Did you
I
catch
saw
all
you with
that?
your trumpet again.
Oh, the trumpet, yeah. Well, I feel like I was so captivated when I got these glimpses from Ian. I felt as if I wanted to call people to that level of authority, that they start setting their heart on what sort of things they want to see. Because there's an element that we've got to say in this, even though it can be, turned down by other people. There's some authority being given us for us to say, what values do you want, and how, if you had to pull them together, what would it look like? And that's kind of like the next level we're being called to. It's quite exciting, really. It's quite woo, it's pretty
Wow.
freeing.
I see your Joan of Arc banners coming out of your yeah. Your ship, I guess.
Oh yeah. Oh, she's so one of my many white linen. The moment I get to feel like this, I get the sense of Joan of Arc's spirit, that she really had this wanting to kind of create this new environment and call forth a new army of people to it.
So practically, what do we do next? Are we looking for documents? I'm getting this sense that all we're doing is sitting here observing, thinking about it. Is there an action here?
Well, I think what happened before was that the documents were signed. Somebody said they saw that happening, which I think was not anything we had to sign. It was just we witnessed it. We saw what was happening. Yeah, and there was a new release of some gathering. And I think what we're doing now is just really getting a deeper blueprint of what that looks like, so that we know where to go when we get to that level. Because I'm like almost at that level, really, and I didn't know what to do with it. I mean, I did these things and I was like, so this is really, really helpful for me, because now I'm getting a sense that what that city I created and set my heart on, I now have to take to the Galactic Council for authorization. But I think it's when you've got to that level of understanding, you've moved past just taking things to the court of 70, and you've done an awful lot of court case and legislation, and then I think you then called to this new level of rulership.
I think we're here too to see that there's a need for us to come, and also to cultivate desire in us to come. That's the sense I got as well while we're here observing.
Yeah, it's definitely about desire. Yeah, because it's all based on us getting to that point where we want to take this new level of responsibility, which is is beyond just seeing the heavenly blueprint and following it, to actually saying, well, I'm part of the political team, so to speak, like on a Congress, that actually determines the new legislation for this country. And that's a whole new kind of new level of responsibility.
Does anybody get the sense that I'm going to step out here, that legislation is done here also to prepare new habitations for the Ecclesia in the future? Or not just, well, I just said it's to prepare new habitations that are soon to come.
Yes.
I see us kind of migrating to these, and we were literally going to populate these.
I think that's spot on, Simone. I think that's the right word. New habitations. New habitations for the Ecclesia. Yeah. Because we've got to operate in this new environment. At the moment, it is just not good. The values, the way we're operating, it's just, oh, I mean, I can feel it destroying me most days. I deal with stuff and I can just see it's just not in alignment with heaven. And I can feel it churning me up, and I'm like, you know, I can see the new values. I can see the blueprint really, really clearly. We're just nowhere near it at the moment. We are really not.
I'm getting the sense we've really got to grasp that we're not just going to be on the earth. It's way far beyond that, and that's why there's a need for this mind expanding, and this is. And I submit this is maybe why we were brought to the Galactic Council today, to observe, to help our minds come up. That it's far broader, and the expansion is far greater than we were originally considering.
Well, remember when we all had our swords together, pointed at the top? And I had seen us all kind of rising up, and that being the point of the separation of the opening, you know, and then we had the following coming behind us, like underneath us. So it was like we were breaking into the new place for us to go with those swords, and then that opened it up for other people to go.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. I see myself just hanging out on the edge of the circular cloud, looking down. I can see the wall where all the people are gathered for Yom Kippur. And when I look up, I can see the Galactica. Like, just like, you look down, you can see real Earth. You look up, you see amazing.
Yeah, because I think it was just been opened up to us.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Because I see individual nations as being so small now that it's hard to, you know, look at yourself as being one nationality. It's almost like that's not even existent anymore.
I agree with that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something that Michael Van Wylam says in that translation by Faith book, first we go to the heavenly realms, and then we get the translations and that kind of supernatural. Of course, going to the heavenly realms is supernatural too, but anyway.
isn't it related to like Event Horizon, living in on Earth? You're seeing on Earth and then also in heavenly realm. So you're living constantly living in dual realm. Like Bonnie said.
Yeah, I think we were seeing that before, but I think this just brought us to a higher level in the heavenly realms, into the galactic level or layer.
I agree.
If you were invited to design a new planet, what would you name it? That was a question that just came to me. That's so cool. So this is really mind expanding. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the best way I can articulate that.
I was in an ascension in which we were led by Jesus to a planet, and we, co-created stuff together with him and named it. It was really fun. And yeah. And then another time we were in an ascension, we were taken to the planet Jupiter. And when we looked it up, the meaning of it, we actually judged it free from the wrong hold, the demonic hold that was on its name. And because when we looked up the Hebrew for that meaning of that planet, it actually means righteousness. So we called Jupiter righteousness, the planet called righteousness. So I think we can also release planets by naming them as we are led. That was just a really interesting thing we came across one time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
It makes me think of how did Adam, one of the things the Bible clearly says about Adam is that he named the animals. So it's just making me think about where we'll be restored back to, where we'll be like Adam, where you'll have the know-how to populate and design a planet. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like, how did he know to name the animals what he named? It was something that he had, before the fall. I mean, just think about, I'm just like, wow, God, just the know-how, how that has to come from God to design a planet. I mean, just thinking about the earth, even in this fallen state, it still has a balance in everything. And it's just amazing. Just all that'll happen just in that.
I remember that Adam didn't have the authority, according to what I read, actually to actually create planets, because the scripture says it's given authority over the beasts of the field and the birds and the fish and everything, and over everything that's on the earth. But then when we came into Jesus Christ, the last Adam, we became co-heirs together with Jesus Christ of all that he owns and possesses. And so we became co-creators with him of the galaxies and everything.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. There's going to be like a release of the mysteries. Like I'm seeing original creation. That's the word I'm seeing, and I feel like what you're saying is what is happening. People are gonna start. There's gonna be a release of revelation on how to create, and that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, because I think the first issue we've got to address is not so much what would we do if we created a planet, but what if we had our own cities, a city of refuge, what values would we want in those? How would we want that city to operate? governmentally, politically, resources wise,
Mm-hmm.
those sorts of things. If we can start to get a sense as sons with authority, we can then begin to legislate for those new cities of refuge to come forth, that are going to be places that are going to operate so much more heavenly than anything currently.
It occurs to me that if we create the city in the heavens first, then the next task is to land it on earth.
Yes.
Yes, that's the process. Yeah, that's what we've got to do.
So
we've got to decide what that is. We've got to be so in tune with heaven that we get this great assurance that that's a heavenly value. And
I'm not sure that's
You
always
mean like
the case.
honor?
There are refuge
You mean like
cities that need to be off the earth, I believe.
What? What did you say, Roger?
They were talking about that we had to land the city. And I believe that some refuge cities need to be heavenly. They're going to have to be away from the earth. This place will become dangerous at some point.
I agree with you, Roger, because what I have been getting, and I've been listening to each of us say, this and that, but I was saying before I met you guys and before I started ascending, we are so low. And I know God must be looking down at us and saying, I really am waiting for my children to come up much higher, because the Bible says all of creation cries out for the return of the sons of God. Not just this planet, the other planet. We have a lot of work that needs to be done to the other planets. And Adam, when he did fall, he started with this earth, but what about the rest of the planet? It was supposed to have been more, but he got intercepted. So if we are coming forth as the sons of God, we have a lot of work to do. And this is, we're taking baby steps, but just like Jane said, she began to start creating, and that if you are a son of God, you are his creation, and you can do the same thing that he does. You know what I mean? This is a whole nother order. So it's got to be much higher than, of course, our thinking right now, even where we are. But this new gate or portal that's opened up to us is saying, let's go up and, let's expand our minds and our thinking, because this is still kind of low.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it is around, we've got to remember what time frame we're talking about. Are we talking about, the next few hundred years, or are we talking about going back into eternity and restoring a new heaven and a new earth? So it's what period of time we're thinking.
That sounds good right there, because, it is past, present, and future. And that is what we have been doing with some of the Ecclesia. We've been going forward, even with the situation with the bees, and then sometimes backwards. So, yeah, but we got to mature so we can get to that point. And that's why we're doing the ascending and seeing the blueprints and all that.
Yeah, I'm finding that there's a bit of a quandary going on amongst the debate in the Ecclesia. If you listen to an awful lot of YouTubes and stuff, there's the what is going to happen before we get the new heaven and the new earth, and there's going to be all this, a lot of people saying there's going to be a lot of disruption and tribulation. But my feeling is it doesn't have to be that way, because as manifest sons, we can now begin to legislate the coming of the new earth and that transition, so to minimize the amount of tribulation and turmoil that could happen if we don't do that.
Absolutely, Jane. I mean, because what are we doing is we actually taking our place to rule and reign, and to release of the increase of his peace and government, there'll be no end. So we're basically dealing with the demonic to cast it out, not to give it more room.
Yeah. So I think we have to be careful what we frame up. You know, if we talk about a lot of timelines of, oh, you know, there's going to be this suffering and this turmoil, we're framing that up if we accept that that is the way it's just going to be.
I agree with that, Jane, because even recently they always talk about my great state, of course, is California. I was born there, but they always talk about that the San Andreas fault. Oh, you know, it's going to fall off into the ocean. Well, recently they found another fault line in the Salton Sea, and they didn't know it was there. I don't know if the water just went down. Everything is kind of dead down there, but it took away some of the blunt from most of the big tremors that normally the San Andreas fault would cause. They didn't even know that it was there. I don't know if some of the sons went and framed that forward so it can do that, but there are a lot of changes that are happening to this catalytic thing that, or catastrophic thing that some people think is going to happen is not. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Doesn't it talk about the heavens? Doesn't it talk about the old heavens and the old earth being kind of rolled away? It's kind of like, you know, we're removing the old scroll and we're landing the new.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's different timelines, I think, isn't it? You know, there's a timeline that if nobody does anything, that this is what's going to happen to the earth. And then there's another timeline that if we change our response now, we can create a new future. So there are all these possible timelines, and it's a question of what we choose to frame up, really, and participate in bringing forth.
Right.
So the heavenly values, was it like honor and peace and joy? Is that what he had been asking us to frame up?
Yeah, I mean, when you get into the nitty-gritty of how you operate, it's really quite tricky. I mean, I've even been deliberating recently about even finances. A few questions have come up of what people in the arcs want to do with finances. You know, how you distribute finances, how even the role of gifts. Once it's getting into all those of how does it operate, and it's really quite tricky. But you can see so many of the old ways of thinking like starting to sort of filter into the arcs. And it's almost like virtually everything has kind of got to go, because there was a taintedness on most things, like even the whole gifts. I'm trying to get my head around the gifts and why we didn't get that right. But I can feel this whole pull saying, but no, it's logical, it's obvious that you work in gifts, and you know, but then I can feel this heavenly blueprint of no, but we were all created to do a little bit of everything. And we was never meant to be these streams of evangelists, prophets, apostles, teachers. And I can see, because I've read so much of the big picture as well, from all sorts of different denominations and things. I've got a bit of a grasp on the really big picture, so I can kind of. So it opens my mind up to reevaluating things, but you've got to just really keep seeking that bigger picture to figure out how we would operate on the earth, you know, ideally. Because we didn't even get it right with, if you look at the whole attempts of communism and, you know, and regimes like that really tried to liberate the people and address the, you know, inequality, that wasn't a heavenly blueprint. I mean, that never worked at all well. So it's how do you actually get something to work well? And I think that's what we've got to be seeking as mature sons. Get into those nitty-gritties of different aspects. And don't necessarily just take the first thing that one arc says, because each arc is only getting a little glimpse. And, you know, most of us are really still quite immature, and therefore it needs the whole body to really keep kind of taking it to heaven and themselves, and to bring their little glimpses, and then everybody chips in, and eventually everyone sees the bigger picture. But if everyone just thinks, oh, a few people will go away and they're good at seeing, they'll see it all, I just follow them, that's where we'll go wrong. Because they won't, and they'll only see an element, and they'll bring in a slightly wrong mindset to something, and eventually we'll all just follow a few, and then we'll form this lower version of the heavenly blueprint. So it's got about this huge mindset change of believing we can see, we can bring apart, presenting it to the body, and then we'll get to see that bigger picture. Because this is really helpful for me with the Galactic Council thing, because I was reluctant to kind of, in a way, I didn't want to hear what someone else was saying about it till I'd seen it myself. So just going in today has been really helpful for me to see something before anybody said it. I've heard anybody say anything about it.
I think as an overall thing of what we experienced today was that Uriel was also trying to encourage us. I know I had engaged with him a little bit in the beginning, and I've engaged with him before personally, and so he said that this was an encouragement, and I really believe that that's what happened today, and that we've all kind of gotten some encouragement, and you know, particularly those of us who live in the U.S. with all of the stuff that's going on with this election. It's just, I mean, it's just everyone's so angry and upset, and so to have kind of a sense of relief that there's this new government forming, and that we get to be part of this in some way, that to me that was extremely encouraging. So I hope that was also what other people experienced too.
Yes, it was for me.
It's been a common theme, I think, lately.
I find it quite amazing at the level of things we are being shown and called to. It just blows me away that we have this privilege and this honor, and the only sense I get is we're the reason why is because we are taking this really open mindset. We're not fighting these other things that others are fighting, and so we're freer. We're freer to see, because we're willing to accept, even if it comes out with something that feels a bit freaky. We're willing to kind of embrace it and dialogue with heaven about it, instead of just rejecting it first off and saying, oh no, it's way too dodgy. So I think it's a real honor what we're being allowed to see, really. Whew.
Yeah, I'm getting a sense that our future ascensions are going to be geared towards governing from that Galactic Council position.
Oh. Woo.
Wow.
We better start taking responsibility quickly and embracing it.
Yeah.
Ooh. Thinking what our cities would look like.
I feel like we have more authority than we realize. So it's sort of like God is opening our eyes to who He is in us, the authority He has put in us, His authority in us, or rather Christ's authority in us. And yeah, it's new, and sometimes you just feel your paradigm shaking, and all this stuff you didn't even know you had that was religious. And it's like God starts to just shake some things and move some things in your mind, and you realize it's just changing our perception of who He is and who we are in Him.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
I just can't wait to get on with it. I'm just so tired of the old, and I don't even like going to church that much anymore, even when they call me. I'm just ready to go higher. You know?
Aren't we all?
Anybody feel that way?
It's like, you guys, this is so elementary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love them and everything, but I mean, I guess we're being called forward to be, like someone said earlier, pioneers, first engagers. That's fine, you know, but I'm really just ready to just bury the old, like give it a funeral and everything, really.
Yeah, I've had to leave my church. I can't go anymore.
Yeah, it's just too much. Well, it's just like Jane was saying earlier. It's just like the whole thing of the church. I mean, where does the bearing start? It just seems like we have been doing things all wrong. Let me just say that.
It's almost as if it's like back to when you're talking about the Magna Carta. I think it's because that was the dynamic that's gone on, that there's been so much wrong trading for position, authority. This is mine. I'm building my church. I'm building this, you know, I'm controlling this. I'm over shepherding. That it's ended up just being nothing. The wisdom couldn't flow. The river of life could not flow with this kind of revelation because of the wrong trading. And so I can really understand this whole Magna Carta thing now. It really, in a spiritual sense, it's just like there's got to be this massive change. I mean, if we'd carried on as a society, allowing the kings to be able to say anything now, I mean, what sort of society would we have? I mean, it would have been shocking. I mean, kings could just turn around, murder anybody left, right, and centre if they didn't like them. I mean, it was a horrendous society, really. But that brought in a whole new way of operating, which we've reaped the fruits of, with a really democratic society in most countries. And it's almost like this has got to happen with the church. It's, you know, it got so undemocratic. It was really, really unfair. And we've got to stand up as people and say, you know, we need a new Magna Carta.
I have been really interested in the parallels of what we're doing with the whole idea of our government and how it was established and how it's being corrected now. And I just want to trace my thinking just a bit with you all. First of all, I think that Gary Beaton and his bunch were like the Continental Congress, which was the first body that began to get together to decide that they really needed to leave English rule and come under a new constitution. And I think what we did was sort of like the meeting of the Congress when we ratified the Constitution and set in place the structure of the government, which was three branches, which was legislative, executive, and judicial. And what we were operating in was the legislative, and the legislative put the Constitution into place. And the next step is to establish the executive branch, and then the executive branch calls forth the judicial. So I'm wondering if there isn't parallels between these three these three galactic councils and this structure. And if today what we were not looking into was the executive.
Oh, wow, Nancy. Oh, that is so profound. I'm going to go away and really seek wisdom on that. You've just opened my eyes up. That is really interesting. Have you any idea what the executive means then? Like, I don't understand the difference between.
Well, the legislative, of course, is the Congress.
Right.
The executive is the president. And of course, in the United States, he has certain duties and certain responsibilities, but what that means in a heavenly, I have no idea. I mean, how that translates into the heavenly, I don't know, except I have a feeling that the Galactic Council has something to do with it.
Oh, I see. Yeah. And then the judicial is the whole court system.
Court system, exactly.
Right.
My guess is the executive branch will be the sons of God.
Yes, that makes sense.
We're not walking in sonship yet.
Yeah.
So I have to wonder if we can be both, because we are kings and priests.
Both.
Are we not?
Both. Which?
Both, like the executive branch and the legislative branch, because we're kings.
And I'm wondering if it's just, yeah, I'm just wondering if being as we're kings and priests, maybe that's what that is, and we just function in both.
Well, yeah, that would
Guess
make
we'll
sense.
find out.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have any sense of how it all fits together. I'm just beginning to get glimmerings of it. But, I mean, I'm excited about this Galactic Council because I've been wondering what the executive was going to be like. And I have a feeling we're going to find out in the Galactic Council as we explore that. But I think there's going to be like an outworking. I mean, there certainly was an outworking of what we did at the summit and what Gary Beaton did. I mean, there was an outworking on the earth of it. So that's going to be interesting.
Can I add to that, Nancy? What we got to in an ascension just this past Monday concerning that, there was an angel named Righteousness that was assigned to the executive branch. There was an angel of justice assigned to the judiciary branch, and there was an angel of liberty assigned to the legislative branch.
Can I just share something now? This is really just interesting because in an ascension today, we had an amazing time. And I always knew that one of the Prince Warring Angels over this nation was unity or union. And I was always looking to see who the other two were. And today, because of what God led us into, we saw that the other two angels of the Prince Warring Angels over the United States are liberty, and justice. And we actually had to release them because we had bound them. We had bound them. Actually, the church had bound them, and yeah, and it just was. It was amazingly. It was just an amazing time because, you know, we've done a lot of court cases, and especially court cases over Freemasonry and stuff, and roots in this nation, and haven't really seen much results yet. And so when we realized that these other two prince warring angels that had actually been held in back, or we had actually put them in a bondage, and we were able to release them as we were shown what to do and everything, and why they were in that situation. I mean, we just had such joy. It's like, God, if you release the government Father has established over a nation so that they now have their freedom to operate, it brings a great release, to all the other things we've done, because they are prince warring angels over the nation. I'll share briefly because it came about because we were led into a corridor, and we saw a table, and we saw an old something being written on the table by someone who was in the past, and there were two angels on either side of this table, and there was a myriad of people from the great cloud of witnesses standing there, and we looked in to see what was written on this piece of paper, and we saw the Pledge of Allegiance.
Wow.
And when we saw the Pledge of Allegiance, we looked back to find out who started it. And it was a Baptist pastor who was a socialist. He was a seller of flags, and he got to sell these flags to children at school and teach them this pledge that he set up, which is a pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States with respect to the Republic. It was not a pledge of allegiance to God. It was a pledge of allegiance to this flag of the United States representing the Republic. And it was also not under God initially. He didn't put under God in there, but in 1950, the Knights of Columbus asked for under God to be put into it. So you can see the Freemasonry, you can see the socialism, and you can see that we as a church, because it was a Baptist pastor who put this into place, have been pledging an allegiance, not to God, not to Yod-Heh, Vav-Heh, but pledging allegiance to a socialist government to protect us. And funnily enough, they even in the beginning, you know how they use that sign where they put their hand out for Heil Hitler? That sign was originally the sign that they used in the United States before Hitler came along. They used that sign when they did the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah,
and so what we saw that those two angels that were there on either side of the table was the angel of freedom and the angel of justice. I mean, the angel of liberty and justice. Yeah. And because the allegiance says, okay, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and what it represents, which is the Republic, and as one nation, and it says with liberty and justice for all. So what we had done is we had bound the angel liberty and the angel justice under that flag, under that allegiance that we were pledging. And we had to release those angels from that bondage that we had put them in. We broke that whole, we repented for ever signing an allegiance to anything other than God. And so we released it completely. We even saw that on the buildings, like the Supreme Court, for example, they have these two statues, the statue of justice, which is a Roman Greek statue, and if you know, it has a blindfold on it, right?
Yes.
And
Right.
the blindfold is supposed to be because you can judge justly because you can't see color and all that stuff. But blindfold is very much in Freemasonry.
Yes.
So it was
hoodwink.
completely wrong. So we basically took the blindfold off that thing, and we took the blindfold off, and said, we released this angel justice, and we released the angel liberty, because we also dealt with the Statue of Liberty, which was Freemasonry. We released the angel liberty. So we released the angel of justice and liberty to go together with the angel union as the three archangels over the United States. Something that we had any clue we were going to go into at all, but it just evolved in an amazing way. And we actually rewrote an allegiance to Yod He Vav He. And so we're putting that into writing. I don't know if you have any insights into that as to what you would think that we could do with that. But we know we need to land it in a way, and if people can recognize what they've done and come out of agreement with it, that will be helpful.
Can I say, who was that was just speaking? I'm sorry.
This is Michelle.
Michelle. That's really something, because I work at a school. The younger teachers all the way to the children. That I would say maybe within the last month, maybe two, I'm the only one that's saying the pledge, and some of the older, maybe some of the veterans, but they won't say it. They stand there and they're not saying anything. So are you saying we're not supposed to say the pledge? Because they're already not receiving it. I don't know, something else happened, but is that what you're saying? That because that when did you guys do this?
This was today. It happened today. Yeah. And what came out of it was, and we haven't got it all in so clear a way, but basically we just rewrote it and said, I pledge allegiance to Yod He Vav He. Over the United States of America, and we said the banner of his flag, which stands for his blueprints, his heavenly blueprints for the United States, with liberty, justice, and union for all. So we put all three of the Prince Warring Angels in that part. And it's not polished, but we understood what we were endeavoring to do there, what we felt to do, and took it everywhere in the heavens we felt to take it. But the greatest joy for me was like, God, there's the three Prince Warring Angels, and look what Freemasonry has done to this nation by binding that as to just an idol of justice that is completely demonic, and an idol of freedom which is completely demonic.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for participating in that. I knew something was wrong and something had to be changed about that because it wasn't straight.
When we're talking today about just the Galactic, Council and everything, and just talking about having this viewpoint of seeing the galaxies or the whole multiverse and governing of that, and breaking away from the nationalist viewpoint, which, I believe in a nation. I believe that Prince Warring Angels are given to nations, but we breaking away from, where we established it on, not on the heavenly foundation, but where we established it on an ungodly earthly foundation. And so I feel it all just gels together with what is saying. I know that Kathy and Roger and Diane and myself have done some legislating, and others have too, I know. And so I think it's all dovetailing together. And this was just one of the pieces that we got today.
Absolutely.
Praise God for that.
Different groups working in unity, even though they're isolated from one another. It is dovetailing. It's amazing. It's Holy Spirit. Thank you, God.
That's amazing. Yes, it is.
Thanks for sharing that, Michelle.
Yeah, that's fabulous, Michelle.
Good stuff.
Awesome. I'll
Thank
give that some
you.
more
Yes.
thought. Yeah, really good. Oh, well, guys, are we all complete? Been going
Yes.
for a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording then.